The only difference between the one who quits and the one who doesn't, I think, is that they show up every day, they work hard every day, they hustled every day, and they've committed to learning and improving every day. If we get complacent in that world, that's where we lose momentum. It's where we lose the opportunity to continue to grow. And most entrepreneurs actually keep going, even though there are many days that they feel like quitting. And sometimes you feel like quitting every freaking day. I've often said, I'm just going to sell it all for $1. Take it all away. You can have it all for $1. And that's sometimes just how down it can get, how hard the work is, and you don't feel like you're winning. But eventually, they grow into, and we grow into who we are. And in the end, it's your success or even the lack of that will actually speak for itself. And according to your future truth, and every day you have to guide people to be their best in all of that, we get to experience the rewards. And often the rewards don't look like money. They look like gratitude. They look like, wow, I got to be a catalyst for the change in that individual's life. Could be your team. And I think that's, for me, really powerful. And that's because that's part of my purpose. This part of Stephanie's purpose is making that difference. I think that in 2024, more than fricking ever before, and I might be wrong about that, that's just how I feel about it. I think it's abundantly clear that the world needs leaders. It needs capitalists. It needs your ideas, your passion, and your heart. That part of it which can make a difference and is committed to making a difference. And yes, you need to monetize that. And yes, you want to make a great living. I'm reminded of a quote. Seth Godin once articulated it so well. And, from an entrepreneur, solopreneur kind of point, and I want to be a little bit cautious about that, because I think about entrepreneurs, like those individuals that are working for other businesses. Within my own businesses, I have what I would consider people who are entrepreneurs. They are really committed to the growth of the business, and they're also rewarded for the growth in that business because that is their commitment. But anyways, Seth Godin, once articulated that the feeling that everyone is about, or not everyone, everything, the feeling that everything is about to fall apart, that panic, which is precisely what growth feels like. You'll want to escape that terrifying feeling as fast as possible. Your brain thinks that your body is in danger, and the most important thing is to get rid of that danger, to end the tension. You'll want to run away. That's the critical moment when most people lose. The key is to recognize when you feel that way and to lean even deeper into those moments. And I can say, without reservation, I've had those moments many times over the past 40 years where I just wanted to run. The pressure was felt so high. And so I share that all with you, is that when you're looking at whatever might be happening in your life, in your business world, in your entrepreneur world, and your desire to be an entrepreneur, when we see what's going on economically, many are struggling. Many are facing headwinds. I'm facing headwinds. Everybody's facing headwinds. And I wouldn't say everybody, I'll say most. And so we have to get grounded and know that we're amongst good company. We're not alone. There's a saying that misery loves company, but forget that. Forget that saying, only in that you're not alone. Many are feeling what you're feeling. That's where these quotes come from. This is where Seth Godin has this recall. And then finally, I want to leave you with this one fundamental thought process that occurred to me in reflection. I often look at the gap, not the gain. And I've come back to gratitude. When I look at the people I follow, the mentors that I have, those that I admire, when I look into my future self and think about who I'm going to be in 5 years from now. I've shared many times that I really do follow, some people that I admire, and I want to adopt those characteristics and those traits. And all of them talk about gratitude, having gratitude. And I realized that in some of my own way of thinking, I was being not out loud, like not front facing, having these conversations, but I was feeling like a victim. Now, over the years, I've had people in my life and partners or indirect partners, we'll just say close associations. But after years, they kind of went off the rails a little bit. And I felt like, man, was I ever taken advantage of? Was that not what we agreed to? How could this even happen? And of course, I accept responsibility for it. And I look at it and I go, okay, here's what I could have, should have done differently. And I'll say, here's the big tip, courageous conversations. Don't back down from courageous conversations. And that would be my learning in all of this over the years. And if I was to share that with anybody, when you're afraid to have that conversation because of what the fallout might be or what you might think their reaction's going to be, you got to put on, I don't give a shit. I got to have this conversation. And then consider how you're going to have the conversation, but don't back down from the conversation. That's one of my lessons, many lessons that I've had. But through it all, as I reflected on it, I realized that I was looking at the negative of those relationships, what was done to me, kind of a victim mentality. And as I thought about it and looked at each of those relationships, and like I say, some of them were many years long, what I got to was gratitude. I realized that in spite of all of the downside, the financial losses, the pressure, the stress that went along with those breakups, if you will, how much I gained in those relationships. And I don't mean the lessons of the departure, if you will. I mean, in the years of the relationships that I had, how much I learned, how much it actually defined who I am today. Those individuals all brought so much to me. And for that, I have a lot of gratitude. I realize that much of what I do, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for those individuals.